There are people who feel uh, they would rather stay in this relationship because it's familiar. They are used to it. It's something they are in it, so they know. They know what it is. They know what to expect. They know, they kind of have been in it for a while, so they have, in a way, found their place in it. Hello and welcome again to Reggenerate Consultancy, where we focus on mental and emotional well-being as well as personal improvement. Our discussion today is going to be on why it is hard for people to leave a toxic relationship, or why people find it hard to end a toxic relationship. And as much as it is very obvious to people outside looking in to see that that is a really toxic relationship, and sometimes people wonder, why would someone want to just stay, why would someone just not leave? But it is a little harder than just it's hard for the people in it. And we are going to look at why it's hard to leave. We are going to look at some of the reasons. There are many, but we're going to look at a few. Why it is hard to leave a toxic relationship. And according to studies done on this in around this topic, before a person leaves a toxic relationship, they will have made at least 7 attempts, or at least seriously considered leaving. So 7 attempts before they actually leave. And what are some of the reasons that cause people to stay, or what are some of the reasons that make it harder for people to leave? A big one is fear, and it is fear of many things: fear of unknown, of the unknown, fear of threats, fear of being alone. So when it comes to the fear of the unknown, there are people who feel uh, they would rather stay in this relationship because it's familiar. They are used to it. It's something they are in it, so they know. They know what it is. They know what to expect. They know, they kind of have been in it for a while, so they have, in a way, found their place in it. It's unhealthy, but this is the reason why a lot of people stay. So the fear of the unknown. What will I find out there? Number two, the fear of threats, especially in a relationship where there are threats. If the partner is threatening uh, this person, the victim, to leave, they may feel, let me just say, there are certain relationships where the the abuser, or the abuser is threatening the victim, as in, if you leave, I will look for you and I will harm you. Or they may threaten to actually harm themselves. You have probably you've heard of situations where someone says, if you leave me, I'm going to harm myself. So the fear of threats, fear because of threats. And so there are people who stay because they take these threats seriously, and they may not have a way, they may not know of how to handle that threat. There's also the fear of being alone. There are people who would rather be in a toxic relationship with this person because they know that if they leave, then they'll find themselves alone. And there are those who, just decide, let me just stay. At least he or she is around. It's better to be in this relationship, as rotten as it is, than to be alone. There's the fear of also on not finding love. There are people who believe that this person, as much as they have turned toxic or abusive, they love me, or they once loved me. If I leave, I may never find someone to love me or to care about me, so I would rather just stay. So fear of not finding love. And that's number 4. So we've talked about the fear of the unknown. Number 2, the fear because of threats. Number 3, fear of being alone. And then number 4, the fear of not finding love, or not finding someone to love them. And then number 5 is shame. There are people who fear, leaving a toxic relationship or a breakup, or ending a marriage if it's a marriage, because they perceive this as something shameful. They fear, they fear about what will people say, what will my family think of me, and so they would rather endure this environment than leave. So fear of shame, or just not wanting what to face what they perceive as shame. Number six, which is kind of related to shame, is protecting public image. But this one is more related to people who are in the public eye. For instance, people who are well known in the community, people probably who are in leadership positions. They may feel that breaking up or ending their relationship will impact their whatever it is, their public service, or the whatever it is that causes the community to look at them in a certain way. So they will stick together. They usually will present a very positive, a very healthy image to the public, even though they are fighting and disagreeing at home or in private. And for such people, they weigh the options and they feel it's better to stick together. It's better to stay than to leave. Number seven, financial reasons. And this is a big one, because if in this relationship there's one person who depends entirely on the other one when it comes to financial matters, maybe they do not have a job, they do not have an income, they depend entirely on their partner, they may find it hard to leave. Or it's not that they can't really support themselves financially if they so decide, but there are situations where a person may be so used to a certain lifestyle that they cannot imagine not living in that, not continuing to enjoy that lifestyle. I know of people who they are abused, they are in a very unhealthy relationship, very toxic, but they they have been provided with maybe a mansion, cars, people to servants around the house, big finance, a big financial upkeep, and so they cannot, and they know that if they left this relationship, all that would go. So for such people, they would rather stay than leave. uh, then number eight, there's a one where people stay because they still love the person. And you will hear this a lot when people say, as much as he's like this, or she's like this, I still love them. I still love them, and I that's not something I can deny. And so for them, it's a bit it's hard to leave, because they still have very strong uh, emotional attachment to their partners, so they stay. And then there's number nine. There's those who stay because they cling to the past, and that's strange, because relationship may have started off very well, as most relationships do, loving, caring, fun, thriving, until it started turning toxic. And so this particular person looks into the past, and they recall how the relationship was. They recall how good it was. And they cling to that past, and they refuse to see the current situation. They refuse to see the reality of what they have now. And so they may stay. And they may just ignore, what is going on. Usually, this may also be in hope that things may go back to what they used to be. Number 10, we said earlier that there's usually control and manipulation in toxic relationships. And so this causes a lot of people to stay, because the person who is causing all the trouble may be very good at manipulating their partner. So they may just engage in a way that this other person just feels okay, maybe he'll change, maybe she'll change. They were going through a bad phase, because that's usually what they're made to believe. But this manipulation and control is a factor when it comes to people staying longer than they should in a toxic relationship. There is also a category of people who stay because, and this is number 11, because they have very low self-esteem. And this maybe they were like this even before, or maybe in the cause of abuse and all that, their self-esteem really goes, it's eroded to a degree where they may feel, they may feel, paralyzed, and they stay. And there are those also who may feel that they really don't deserve better, as strange as that may sound. There are those who may feel, well, uh, this is me, this is my life. uh, I've always gone through such, relationships, and especially if people, if this kind of a person suffered trauma or bad experiences when they were growing up, they may feel like it's their lot, and that they may not deserve better, so they will stay because they have very low self-esteem, and they don't feel they don't believe they deserve better. There are those also who stay because they feel, or they believe that it is better for the children, especially if there are children involved. There are people who believe that it is better for their children to grow up or to be raised in a family where both parents are. And so they stay. They stay. You will hear people saying, once my children are grown, I may consider leaving, but as long as they are small and they are still in this house, I will stay. So there are those who stay because of children.